Okay, example 7. This is 5.1b elementary algebra. And again, we're going to do example 7 here before we move on to factoring by grouping. So I have 3a squared b minus 6a cubed b squared plus 9a cubed b cubed. Okay, so 3a squared b minus 3 times 2a cubed b squared plus 3 times 3a cubed b cubed. Alright, so let's look and see what we have common. I've got a 3, a 3, and a 3, so I can just take one of those out. I've got a 2 here. Can't take that out though because it doesn't appear here or here, so that's it as far as numbers are concerned. So I can cross these out because they have gone away. And then I look at my a's. I have an a squared, an a cubed, and an a cubed. So the one that occurs the least often that's constant, I've got an a squared. I can take an a squared out of that and an a squared out of that. So those go away. 2 of these go away. 2 of these go away. Then I look at my b's. I have 1 b here, I have 2 here, and I have 3. So the one that I can pull out is the one that's common, which is the 1b. And I'm going to take one of those away, and I'm going to take one of those away. Okay, so let's see what I've got left here. Notice I took everything out of there, but whenever you take everything out of there, it doesn't all go away. You always have to have a 1. So we'll put a 1 there. And then that plus, and that's what I should have left. 1 minus 2ab plus 3ab squared, and I factored out 3a squared b. Okay, so that was the only new part of this, was when you cancel everything, when you pull everything out, you always have that 1 there. That's a place marker there. So we started out with 1, 2, 3 terms. We have to have 1, 2, 3 terms in the answer. So good to know. So the next part of the video is factoring by grouping, and we're going to start off with ax. This is example 8, and I'm just going to explain to you what we're doing here. You can read the above stuff in your own time because I know you probably do want to read it. Alright, now we look at the terms that have some common things in them. We look at these two. Both of those have an x. So just like we did in the other one, we find what's common, we pull it out, and we write what's left. Now we're going to do the same thing here. Notice we have a y common, so we'll take that out and write what's left. Okay, now notice we have an a plus b here and an a plus b here. So we're going to write that one time, and then whatever's outside the parentheses, we're going to write that together. So what's outside the parentheses goes there, what's inside the parentheses goes there, but notice this appears twice, but we're only going to write it once. And there's our answer. Okay? So that's pretty much it on factoring by grouping. So let's do another one just to make sure that you get what we got here. So I'm going to leave that there, and we'll do this in blue so you can kind of follow it better. 3ax minus 2a plus 15x minus 10. Okay, so I'm going to write this as 3ax minus 2a plus 3 times 5x minus 2 times 5. Okay, so we have 4 different parts with pluses and minuses between them. Okay, so let's look and see. What do we have in common there? We have an a, and what's left? 3x minus 2. And we look over here. What do we have in common? We have a 5. Pull the 5 out. What do we have left? 3x minus 2. So notice, when these are the same, we rewrite it one time, and then we take what's outside the parentheses and write it one time. put parentheses around it, and multiply. This will be very important later. So being able to do this is good to learn, because yes, it will come back and you will see it and you will be overjoyed that you know how to do it. Alright, so let's put those up there. Let's jump to 10. 2x squared plus 5ax minus 2xy minus 5ay. Alright, so again, they just happened to put all the common terms together, and so this one has an x in common, but really all three of these have an x in common, and this has an a, and that has an a, and that has a y, and that has a y, so it's like, what do I do? Alright, what we're going to do here is we're just going to pick one. Doesn't really matter. Let's look at this first one. It's like, okay, we're just going to look at this one. We have x in common. So we're going to take the x and pull it out. And what do I have left? I have a 2x plus 5a left over, don't I? Okay, because I pulled one x out of here and one x out of here, leaving me one and leaving me none. Okay, so then I'm going to put my minus sign, and I'm going to look and see what I have common here. I have a y here and a y here, so let's pull the y out, and what do we have left? So this is where it gets just a tad tricky. Now, how do I know if all my negatives and everything are right? Well, if I take this and multiply this y times this, and then this y times this, I should get this back. I should get this exact same thing back. And let's see if I do. Negative y times 2x is negative 2xy, which is what I have here. Negative y times negative 5 is going to be plus 5ay, because a negative times a negative gives me a positive. But notice, that's a negative, and I got a positive, so that means that something is wrong here. And if you're not careful, you won't catch that. What happens here is this negative right there should be a positive, because now what happens, if I multiply this negative y times 2x, I get negative 2xy, like I showed up here. And if I multiply this negative y times a positive 5a, I get negative 5a y, which is what I got right there. So I know that's correct. Alright, so lots of stuff going on there, and you're just going to have to really be careful. That's one thing about math, where you're at right now, guys, is you have to watch these little markers, I guess you could call them, in order to get this right, because if you don't figure out these negatives and positives, you're going to end up with a huge mess and not be able to get the right answer. Okay, so that being the case, now that we change that to a positive, we can go on. Notice these are the same. So you write it once, and then you write what's outside. And you're done. Okay, let's look at example 11, and then we'll be done. Okay, so 3 times 2, x squared minus 3x minus 2 times 2x plus 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and factor out what we know. What do I have? I have a 3 here and a 3 here, but I don't have any 3's there, so can't take that out. I have a 2 here, no 2's, 2 here and a 2 here, so I can't take that out. So again, let's go to the next part. Let's just look at these two. What do I have common here? Well, I have a 3 here and a 3 here, an x here and an x here, leaving me 1x. So I'm going to take my 3x and pull it out, and I'm left with a 2x there. and a 1 because I pulled everything out. So remember that 1 place marker has to be there. Okay. And then I've got these here that I need to deal with. So let's see, we've got a 2 I can pull out, and that gets rid of this one, leaving me with a 2x here, and that one leaves me with a 1 since that one went away. I pulled it out, and leaves me with that. Oh, and I have a minus sign right there. Okay, so let's look at our minuses here. We don't really have to worry about it over here. It's just with this doggone minus sign it causes trouble. Alright, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4x right here, and that's what we get here. Negative 2 times positive 1 is negative 2, right? And we have a positive 2. So that tells me that this sign here needs to be a negative, because now when I take negative 2 times negative 1, I get a positive 2, and that's what I want. So, and again, because I did that, these two are the same. And then I take my numbers from the outside, and I am done with that one. So again, the key thing you're going to have to focus on is being able to understand why this changed to a negative, because this negative here, negative 2 times negative 1, gives me my positive 2 here, and I have to be able to get this back. So you're going to have to look at those regularly, and we'll try one in the problem set here. So that's it for lesson 5.1.